There's a moment, quiet and fleeting, when you sit alone with your thoughts and wonder, what is the meaning of all this? Not in a loud, desperate way, but in that soft, relentless whisper that visits you between heartbeats. You've heard it, haven't you? That hush of a question, why am I here? The truth, life doesn't give you the answer on a silver platter. It hands you time. It gives you mornings and nights, heartbreaks and triumphs. And in that endless unfolding, you are meant to create your answer. Life isn't about chasing perfection. It's not about the applause, the trophies, or the hollow applause from strangers who will forget you. It's about this very breath, this moment, this awareness that you are alive, and what you do with that awareness. That's where the meaning lies. You see, we all wander, stumbling through years, collecting memories, clinging to people, losing others. Some days we feel like we're grasping meaning, other days it slips right through our fingers, and that's okay, that's human, that's real. What matters is not that you find some ultimate answer etched in stone. What matters is that you live deeply enough to ask the question, and care enough to respond with your life. It's in the love you give when no one is watching. It's in the forgiveness you offer to those who don't deserve it. It's in the way you rise again after being shattered. It's in the courage to create something from nothing, and most of all, it's in the peace you find with yourself. You see, there is no one meaning of life. There are millions, as many as there are hearts beating on this earth. But here's a secret. The meaning you seek isn't out there in some distant achievement. It's in here, in the silence, in the stillness. In you, stop waiting for someone else to hand you purpose. Stop running in circles trying to mimic others' lives. You are not them, you are you, and that, in itself, is a miracle. The fact that you have breath, pain, joy, memory, and soul all wrapped in one existence, what more could the universe give? If you want meaning, then live meaningfully. If you want truth, speak truthfully. If you want love, love bravely. And if you want peace, forgive freely. You were not born to understand life. You were born to live it, to experience it, to savor its light and endure its storms. Meaning is not something you find. It's something you choose to give. Every single day, there is something beautiful, almost haunting, about a question that has no easy answer. It lingers. It follows you into quiet places. You ask it while brushing your teeth, walking through forests, or staring out the window when rain taps against the glass. What is the meaning of life? It's not a question of logic. It's a whisper from the soul. Some chase answers. They think the point is to land somewhere solid, to arrive at a destination called certainty. But life doesn't deal in final answers. It dances, it shifts, it flows. The moment you think you understand it, it changes again. That's the nature of the question. It grows with you. To ask this question is not a sign of confusion. It's a sign of awakening. Only those who are truly alive ever bother to ask. The machines don't ask. The sleepwalkers don't ask. But the ones with flickering candles behind their eyes, they do. And they ask not to escape life, but to sink deeper into it. You might look at a child laughing freely in a field and think, there it is, that's meaning. Or you may see an old man watering flowers morning after morning and realize that too is meaning. It shifts. One day it's a conversation, another day it's silence. The question is not meant to trap you, it's meant to free you. We are raised in a world that worships answers. Schools reward the one who finishes first, who checks the boxes, who gets it right. But life rewards those who dare to linger in the unknown. To live in wonder, to sit with mystery. It is not weakness to not know. It is honesty. You are not a textbook. You are a living story, and stories don't give away the ending in the first chapter. They unfold. They breathe, and the best stories, yours included, begin with a question whispered into the wind. Why am I here? What a powerful place to begin. The question itself is an invitation. It is not asking for logic. It is asking for attention. Look closer. Feel deeper. Let life itself become the answer, not in one grand moment, but in 1,000 tiny ones. A smile, a breeze, a heartbreak, a song. These are not distractions from the meaning. They are the meaning. You see, people spend their whole lives running from uncertainty, but in doing so, they run from the only place truth ever hides. Truth is not found in the answer. It's found in the courage to keep asking, even when no one responds. To keep wondering, to keep listening, ask the question while you walk, ask it while you fail, ask it in the joy and ask it in the grief, because every time you ask, you become more alive, not because you discover some ultimate truth, but because the act of asking stretches your soul. And that stretching, that is what it means to be human. There's something holy in the unanswered question. Not religious, not dogmatic. Holy because it reminds you that you are small, but capable of big love. Capable of wonder, capable of letting go of needing to know, just long enough to experience what is. Most people ask the question in moments of despair, but I tell you this, ask it when you are full. Ask it when you are laughing. Ask it when you are sitting in a quiet room and everything seems still. That is when it whispers back, not in words, but in presence. If you were handed an answer, neat and wrapped, you might hold it for a while. But it would lose its weight. Meaning doesn't grow from answers. It grows from the search, from the willingness to dig, to explore, to breathe in the fog and walk forward anyway. There is nothing wrong with you for not knowing. In fact, there may be something profoundly right with you. This hunger, this curiosity, this wondering. It's a sign that you're awake in a world that wants you numb. Keep asking. Keep listening. The meaning is not waiting at the end of the road. It is etched into every step you take. So when you feel that urge to figure it all out, pause, look inward, and remember, the question is the answer, the asking is the becoming, and sometimes the most meaningful thing you can do is simply be still and let the question breathe through you. There's a strange lie we've been told, one that coils itself around the heart like ivy. The lie says, wait until you are ready, wait until the timing is right, wait until you have everything figured out. But life was never meant to be waited on. It was meant to be made. Creation is not something reserved for the gifted or the chosen. It is not a privilege. It is a responsibility. You, yes you, are here to shape something. A moment, a word, a relationship, a breath, not tomorrow, not when you're stronger, now. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You do not need permission. The stars won't align in dramatic fashion. No signal will flash across the sky. Life whispers, not shouts, and the whisper is always the same. Start where you are. Use what you have. Make something with your soul. Most of us live in waiting rooms. Waiting for the right job, the right partner, the right sign. We decorate those rooms with excuses. We make them comfortable, but no matter how beautiful they become, they're still prisons, and your potential wasn't meant to rot behind invisible bars. You want to know the meaning of life? Then don't just ask, act. You were born to shape the silence into something real, whether it's a painting, a story, a dance, or simply the act of kindness nobody expected. Every moment you create, you declare, I am here, I matter. Creation is not limited to artists. It belongs to anyone who dares to leave a mark on the hour they've been given. Cook a meal with love, speak with intention. Build something out of chaos. Take the pieces you've been handed and arrange them into beauty. And if it breaks, let it, then create again. The act of creation is not about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it. It's about crafting meaning even out of mess, because life, in its rawest form, is messy, and still you are allowed, no, you are meant, to create within it. Stop waiting for peace before you paint. Stop waiting for understanding before you write. Stop waiting for closure before you move. Nothing is certain, nothing is final, but you are still alive, and that, my friend, is more than enough. We often ask the world for a sign, as if creation begins from outside us. But the sign has already arrived. It is you, your breath, your ache, your longing. That's the sign. If you can feel, you can create. If you can imagine, you can change. If you can hurt, you can heal something through your hands. There's no blueprint for this, and there never was. You were not meant to mimic the greats or replicate perfection. You were meant to build the unrepeatable, to carve something from your own bones. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it worthy. Waiting is comfortable. Creating is dangerous. It asks for your vulnerability. It asks for your truth. It asks for you. But in giving yourself to it, you become more alive than waiting ever allowed you to be. You become part of the pulse of this strange, wonderful world. And perhaps the most beautiful truth, what you create doesn't have to last forever. It doesn't have to change millions. If it shifts just one moment in one heart, it was worth it. Because that is the power of creation. It multiplies, it echoes, it lives on in unseen ways. We are not meant to simply exist. We are meant to shape existence, one breath, one step, one word at a time. The silence is not your enemy, it's your canvas. Don't stare at it too long, touch it, change it, fill it with something that speaks of your time on this earth. So step out of the waiting room, pick up the brush. Say what you need to say, make something imperfect, make something real, create. Don't wait. We spend so much time chasing purpose that we forget to be present. As if the meaning of life is something that must be hunted down in the forests of the future or buried in the deserts of some distant success. But what if it's simpler than that? What if purpose isn't something you find, but something you feel right here in the breath you're taking now? Presence is so quiet, most people never hear it. They live above it, outside of it. Minds racing ahead, hearts stuck behind. But life, it does not exist in the next hour, nor in the memories of yesterday. It lives only where your feet are now, only where your eyes are truly open, only where your soul is willing to listen. We think purpose must be wrapped in achievement, in grand gestures, in applause. But no stage will ever be as sacred as this moment. No audience will ever be as real as the silence between your thoughts. The tragedy is not that people die without finding purpose. It's that they live without ever being present long enough to feel it. Try this, slow down, breathe in deeply. Don't chase the moment. Sink into it. Watch the way sunlight leans against a window. Watch the way your chest rises and falls, unprompted. This is not background noise. This is life, and life does not repeat itself. We're conditioned to measure meaning by productivity, by the things we check off, the things we build, but the soul doesn't keep score. It doesn't care about how many followers you have, how big your salary is, or how many titles you carry. It only cares about how deeply you're here. Presence is the highest form of intelligence, because to be truly present means to accept, to surrender, to witness the world without judgment or agenda. It takes courage to do nothing but be, to look someone in the eye and truly see them, without fixing, without fleeing. You see, when you're present, you can't be in fear, you can't be in shame. Those are visitors from other times, ghosts of the past and shadows of the future. But presence is light. It reveals what was always there, the fullness of now, the miracle of enough. We spend years climbing ladders only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall. Presence, however, does not climb. It roots, it anchors. It reminds you that your worth was never in the reaching. It was always in the being, in the stillness, in the witness. There is nothing passive about presence. It is fierce, it is alive. It says, I will not be distracted. I will not be elsewhere. I will not abandon this moment, because this moment is sacred. And the longer you remain in it, the more it reveals. Have you noticed? The present is the only place where love exists. You cannot love in theory. You cannot love in tomorrow. You can only love now, through a touch, through a word, through your full, undivided attention. That's why presence is not just purpose. It is connection. People are desperate to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. But we cannot give what we do not practice. If you cannot be present with yourself, how can you be present with another? Start there, start here, sit with yourself, breathe with yourself, be willing to exist without distraction. This world will try to drag you from the moment, notifications, noise, expectations. They are all designed to pull you away from you. But you have a choice. You always have the choice to return, again and again. No matter how many times you leave, the present welcomes you back. And once you live in the present, even for a moment, you realize something. This is the meaning. This breath, this heartbeat, this quiet miracle of existence. You don't need to go searching across continents. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to be here. Presence is not the absence of thought. It is the awareness of it. The gentle, noticing, the kind returning, and in that practice you discover a quiet truth, that perhaps the greatest purpose of all is to live awake, to witness life not as a race, but as a revelation. So sit still, let the moment wrap itself around you, listen to the quiet voice beneath the chaos. That voice doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it waits, it watches, it whispers, you are here, and that is enough. Growth is not a staircase, it is not a ladder, it is not a clean, upward march into the heavens. No, growth is a spiral, a dance, a sacred unraveling. Sometimes it looks like falling backward, sometimes it feels like breaking. But in the quietest places, beneath the surface, we are becoming. There is a dangerous idea that progress must always be visible, that if we're not moving forward in ways that others can applaud, we are failing. But life doesn't care for our tidy charts and graphs. It moves like water. It carves through stone in the dark, silently, persistently. You do not need to always be winning to be growing. Sometimes the greatest growth comes in the stillness. In the silence, in the nights when nothing makes sense, there is something holy in those moments, something that reshapes you when the world has turned its back. We're so quick to judge ourselves, to measure each day by its productivity, each year by its milestones. But the soul doesn't follow your calendar. The soul grows in mystery, in shadows. It knows that roots grow deeper before anything blooms, that sometimes the work is invisible. There will be seasons where you feel lost. Good, let yourself be lost, because being lost is often the beginning of being found, not by others, by yourself. In the confusion, in the uncertainty, a deeper voice begins to whisper, I am still here. I have not given up. The spiral returns you to old places with new eyes. You'll revisit pain you thought was gone. You'll see versions of yourself you hoped were buried. But this is not failure. This is refinement. This is how growth works. It turns the soil of your soul again and again until it is rich. There is nothing weak about falling apart. Sometimes it is the bravest thing we do to crumble, to weep, to let go of who we thought we had to be. Because only then can something truer emerge, not polished, not perfect, but real. The truth is, transformation is rarely pretty. It looks like confusion, like exhaustion, like disappointment, but within the mess, something ancient is at work. Something wise, something that knows, pain is not the end, it is the portal. The people who grow the most are not the ones who never break. They are the ones who do, and who choose in their brokenness to keep showing up. To keep loving, to keep trying, that is strength, that is courage, that is growth in its most sacred form. Do not be afraid of returning to your wounds. They are not punishments, they are invitations. They say, you are not done healing. They say, there is more to learn here. And if you listen closely, they will teach you how to hold yourself gently, without shame. The road will twist. It will darken. It will rise when you expect it to fall. You will lose people you thought would stay. You will outgrow places you once called home. And still, the path continues. Still, something in you says, there is more. Growth is not a competition. It is not a race. It is a remembering of who you are beneath the armor, beneath the noise. You are not a project. You are a process, a living, breathing story that is still being written. And sometimes growth means stopping, resting, saying, I am tired, and that is okay, because we were not meant to bloom in every season. Some seasons are for becoming the soil, some are for dissolving. And some are for simply surviving. Do not rush your evolution, do not compare it, No tree blooms year-round, no river flows without pause, and yet they are still sacred. So are you, even when you don't feel it. Even when you're in pieces, especially then. So let go of the idea that you must always be rising. Growth is not linear. It is circular, chaotic, divine. It honors your scars. It celebrates your softness. It walks with you, not above you. It says you are enough even now, especially now. You search, we all do, for truth, for meaning, for some signal in the noise that tells us we are where we're meant to be. You search in books, in relationships, in the applause of others, in the still glow of a screen at midnight. You ask life the question over and over. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to become? But the whisper you've ignored all along gently replies. The answer is within. We have been conditioned to look outward, to seek validation, to treat every experience like a mirror reflecting who we are. But mirrors distort. Mirrors show you only what light allows. The soul, however, has no reflection. It simply is. It waits beneath the surface, calm, ancient, undisturbed by fashion or failure. You do not need to chase wisdom across continents. You do not need to earn your soul's permission. The deepest knowing does not arrive like lightning. It emerges like dawn, slowly, faithfully, and it only rises when you are still enough to feel it. When the external world loses its grip on your attention, your inner world begins to speak. That voice within you, it does not argue, it does not beg, it does not scream. It reminds you of the things you forgot while trying to survive. It reminds you of the things that lit your heart before the world taught you how to hide it. And if you are willing to listen, it will guide you, not to certainty, but to truth. You've been told the answer lies in success, in being admired, in having control. But the soul doesn't care about your resume. It doesn't care how many people love you if you cannot love yourself. It doesn't care how many zeros are in your bank account if there is a famine inside your spirit. There is a place within you untouched by time. A sanctuary beyond the scars, beyond the memories, and the closer you come to that place, the more you realize nothing out there can fulfill what only in here can provide. No one can hand you your essence. You must return to it again and again. We often silence our intuition because it doesn't speak in the language of logic. It doesn't make lists. It doesn't offer guarantees. It offers nudges, glimpses. Quiet knowing that defies explanation, and we ignore it because it doesn't scream. But that's the tragedy. The world shouts, the soul whispers. To hear the answer within, you must first make peace with the unknown. You must sit in the quiet discomfort of not knowing, not planning, not fixing, only being. And in that silence you may feel restless at first. You may feel hollow, but slowly, slowly the fog lifts. And something ancient within you stirs. There is wisdom buried beneath your wounds. There is clarity hidden in your confusion. The path forward is not discovered. It is remembered, and you can only remember it when you stop trying to be someone else long enough to feel who you are. You are not broken. You are buried beneath noise, expectations, fear, but underneath it all is the same being who laughed for no reason as a child. The same being who felt things deeply before being told that was a weakness. That being still lives, and it knows things no book ever could. Sometimes the answer within sounds like a longing, sometimes like grief, sometimes like peace. It doesn't always make sense, but it always makes contact. You feel it in your chest, not your mind. It pulls you towards something not yet visible, but deeply familiar, like remembering the words to a song you've never heard before. When you trust that inner voice, you begin to walk differently. Not because the road is easier, but because it's yours. You may be misunderstood, you may be doubted, but you are no longer a stranger to yourself, and that changes everything. You begin to realize that no one can save you, and no one needs to. You are never truly lost, just distracted. The answer was never outside you. It was waiting patiently inside, through every mistake, every setback, every cry in the dark. It knew you would come back. It knew you would one day sit still long enough to hear it. The answer within is not a sentence. It is a return, a homecoming, and like all sacred things, it requires silence, reverence, a willingness to let go of who you think you should be in order to remember who you already are. We often spend our lives searching for meaning, convinced that it is hidden somewhere just out of reach, as though it were a treasure buried beneath the surface of our daily routines. But the truth is, the journey of life isn't about seeking answers outside ourselves. It's about embracing the process, the moments of stillness, the spirals of growth, and the return to presence. It's about realizing that meaning is not something we find, but something we experience in every breath we take. Life's meaning cannot be defined by the achievements we collect or the titles we carry. Those things are external markers that pass with time. What endures, what is eternal, is how we choose to live each moment. It is in the way we learn to be present, to embrace the current moment fully, without the distractions of past regrets or future anxieties. That is where life's richness lies, in the present, yet we often avoid the present. We are always planning, always anticipating, always running towards something. But when we pause, when we truly observe life as it unfolds before us, we realize it is not the destination that matters. It's the journey, the act of truly living, fully awake to every moment that is handed to us. That is where purpose breathes its deepest life. And purpose, my friends, is never something that is found in a straight line. It does not arrive in a neatly packaged form. It ebbs and flows like the tides, sometimes pulling us into places we never expected, and sometimes leaving us stranded on shores we never thought we would reach. Growth doesn't happen in a straight upward curved spirals. It moves in loops, twists and turns, and with each movement we shed pieces of who we thought we were, and in return we become who we are meant to be. It's important to understand that growth doesn't need to be linear. There is no need to compare yourself to anyone else. Your journey is unique to you. There will be moments when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward only to fall 3 steps back. But those setbacks are not failures. They are moments of refining, of learning, of coming back to yourself in new and deeper ways. Those are the moments when you're not just growing, you're transforming. In this process of transformation, there is a profound truth. The answer to the meaning of life is not hidden somewhere out there in the world. It has always been within you. You were never truly lost. You are simply distracted, caught up in the noise of a world that tells you to keep looking outside yourself for validation. The truth is, you are the keeper of your own wisdom. You have always known what you need. You only needed to listen. We silence our inner voice because we've been taught to value external approval over internal peace. But there is no greater source of power than the voice that speaks from the depths of your being. It is a quiet whisper that guides you, not with certainty, but with clarity. It doesn't tell you what to do with your life. It shows you how to be with it, how to live it in its fullest, most honest form. As you step into the fullness of yourself, you will realize that the external world can never give you what you are searching for. No person, no job, no amount of success can fill the space that was meant only for you. Your purpose, your meaning, your answers are already written in the fibers of your being. You simply have to return to them, time and time again. The practice of living fully begins with a return to presence, to growth, to listening to your soul's voice. The more you practice this, the more you realize that you are not just alive. You are living in the truest sense. You are embracing your own journey with all its twists, its falls, and its leaps forward. You are walking with yourself, not above or below, but beside yourself. Your journey may not look the way you expect. It may not follow the pattern you thought it would, but that's the beauty of it. Life does not bend to the rules of your plans. It invites you to surrender, to let go of control, and to trust in the unfolding process. When you do, you realize that everything you need to know, to understand, and to be is already within you. The answer to the question of life is not something to be found, it is something to be realized. It's the realization that every moment is a reflection of who you are becoming. Every joy, every pain, every triumph, every defeat, these are not interruptions. They are essential parts of the whole. They shape you. They mold you. They push you toward a deeper understanding of your own humanity. To live meaningfully, you must accept life's impermanence. It's not the destination that matters, but the act of living itself. Your purpose does not live in what you accomplish. It lives in how you live, in how deeply you engage with each breath, how aware you are of the beauty in each moment, how willing you are to be yourself in a world that constantly asks you to be something else. So, the meaning of life, it's not a question that can be answered once and for all. It is a continuous process, a lifelong journey. It is the art of being present, of growing, of listening to the quiet whispers within. It is the acceptance that the road will twist, that setbacks are part of the journey, and that you, at every stage of your life, are enough. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is this: life, in its most profound sense, is not something we try to understand. It is something we experience, and in that experience we find meaning, if we are willing to stop and feel it, if we are willing to step away from the noise and finally hear the voice within us calling us home.